So Apple have just had their big spring event where they've released a flurry of new products, but for me, obviously the one that caught my eye was the brand new iPad Pros for 2021. So a quick recap for those people that missed out on that. Basically, the big update to the iPad Pros this year was the inclusion of the Apple M1 or the Apple Silicon chip that have been appearing in the MacBook Airs, the Mac Minis and the MacBook Pros through 2020. And for all intents and purposes, this chip looks pretty stunning. It does absolutely everything with minimal drag on battery life and incredible performance and all those sorts of things, and from everything I've seen online it looks incredible. There's a few physical changes as well, mainly with the 12.9-inch Pro. It's now got a mini LED display which mimics the Apple Pro Display XDR, which is really interesting. It means you'll be able to get that display but in a much smaller, more packageable form, which might be really cool for color grading if you're into video, or really intense photography edits if you're into that. And it also came with a Thunderbolt port as well, and that's on both models, which is awesome. So that means you're going to get proper support for external displays, finally, something we've been asking for so long. But the mini LED thing didn't come to the smaller iPad, which is a real shame. I've always been a fan of the smaller 11-inch iPads. I've never gone for a 12.9-inch. I've always thought it looked a bit goofy and huge in the Apple Store. But you know, maybe this is something that will tempt me over. With that M1 chip as well, you're getting at least 8 GB minimum of RAM, which is insane on a tablet. If you push up to 2 TB of storage, you get a full 16 GB of RAM. So that basically rivals all the Apple laptop specs that they've been putting in for a while. You can now get on an iPad, which really does bring it into that Pro area. Those benefits of the M1 features are huge as well. You're going to get much better processing power, and the battery life as well should stay the same, or if not go up, because it's so power efficient. So having an M1 on the iPad is going to be awesome, and it's going to bring all of Apple's ecosystems together. If M1 can now run iPad OS and Mac OS, then it just means they're going to come closer and closer together, and maybe in the future we'll see some sort of divergence where you can have both on one or both on the other, but who knows. What I think Apple really need to do though, now they've got all this horsepower in the iPad, is to really utilize it. People have been asking for Final Cut, Logic Pro and Xcode on iPad for ages and ages, and there's no reason now with the M1 chip that it can't run that, because they're already running on the laptop versions. So I really hope Apple does that, because once it does, I'm sure that will convince other developers to bring their apps over to iPad and M1 as well. So my big concern with getting this M1 chip in there and all the exciting new updates is, will we see an actual difference day to day from the iPads we've just had? I've still got the iPad Pro from 2018 and the iPad Air from 2020, and they're both still as fast as the day I got them. The iPad Pro from 2018 blew me away initially, and I said it had loads of headroom left in it, and I still feel like that's the case. Nothing yet has pushed this to breaking point, and the iPad Air is you know, very similar in a way. I can't actually tell the difference in performance between these two, and in some respects the older iPad Pro from 2018 slightly beat this one in terms of like video rendering and things like that. As much as I love iPads, I still don't see them as devices which can take over a PC or a laptop or a Mac yet. They're not quite there, so hopefully we will see some changes for that too. And what I'm really hoping on is WWDC is just around the corner, so that's on the 7th of June, and that's usually where Apple announce lots of cool new software stuff. So I really hope we see some pro apps come to the iPad, and I really hope the older iPads don't get left behind. There's no reason they can't support external displays either, so I really hope things like that just come in a software update and aren't locked to those who have an M1 chip. I also hope there's some general updates to iPad OS that bring it a bit more in line with Mac OS. I tend to find, as many people out there, I can do a lot more with Mac OS than I can with iPad OS, and that's not thanks to chips or memory or RAM or anything like that. It's purely because there is more on Mac OS than there is on iPad OS in terms of application support and just general things you can do with it. So I really hope WWDC brings some cool features to the older iPads, but also pushes these new ones even further forward. But the big question you're probably going to wonder is, am I going to pick up one of these new iPads? And I think the obvious answer to that is yes. iPads are slowly becoming this channel's thing, and I've really enjoyed making content around them recently, so I will definitely be getting one. I'm slightly gutted, as I said at the start of this video, that the mini LED display isn't coming to the 11-inch. I always prefer getting those, and I'm not overly sure I want to jump up to the 12.9-inch, but we'll see. If it comes out and it looks great, then I'll probably get one. So make sure you subscribe for that if you want to see lots more content. There's so many things I want to try. I want to try another desk update with it. I want to try using it for another week and seeing all those things and seeing how they've changed. So I want to keep making content around that sort of thing, just because it's really, really fun. To quickly gloss over the other things, Apple obviously announced the M1 iMac, which I think look really nice. I'm not huge on the chin, but I really like the colours. I don't mind the white bezel. I think it looks kind of nice. I can imagine one sitting here and I'd probably really enjoy it, but I'm just kind of gutted that it's limited to that 16 gigabytes of RAM. I don't think they are pro devices. They're not made for somebody like me that needs to edit lots of 4K footage and record lots of audio. They're made for people that just need a nice computer for the house. And I think they just look absolutely stunning. I won't pick one up. I'll wait until they do a 27-inch or a Pro version or anything like that. Oh yeah, and I think the Airtags look cool too. Nice little tracker. I've often lose my keys and stuff. I'm actually the worst for losing my Apple Pencil more than anything else. So if there's any way I can track that with an AirTag, I'll try it. You probably can't, but whatever. So I haven't really got much more to say. I think everything announced looked pretty cool, but those new M1 iPads are the ones that I'm going to be looking out for. So with that, I'll leave you and I'll see you all in the next one.